Conclusion. I look back sometimes at the person I was before I rediscovered my old professor. I want to talk to that person, and I want to tell him what to look out for, what mistakes to avoid. I want to tell him to be more open, to ignore the lure and advertised values, to pay attention when your loved ones are speaking, as if it's the last time you might hear them. Mostly, I want to tell that person to get on an airplane and visit a gentle old man in West Newton, Massachusetts, sooner rather than later, before that old man gets sick and loses his ability to dance. I know I cannot do this. None of us can undo what we've done or relive a life already recorded. But if Professor Maury Schwartz taught me anything at all, it's this: there is no such thing as too late in life. He was changing until the day he said goodbye. Not long after Maury's death, I reached my brother in Spain. We had a long talk, and I told him I respected his distance and that all I wanted was to be in touch, in the present, not just the past, to hold him in my life as much as he would let me. "You're my only brother," I said. "I don't want to lose you. I love you." I'd never said anything like that to him before, and a few days later I received a message on my fax machine. It was typed in the sprawling, poorly punctuated, all cap letters fashion that always characterized my mother's brother's words. "Hi, I've joined the 90s," it began. He wrote a few little stories, what he'd been doing that week, and a couple of jokes. At the end, he signed off with that way: "I have heartburn and diarrhea at the moment. Life's a female dog. Chat later." Signed, Sortush. I laughed until there were tears in my eyes. This book was largely Maury's idea, and he called it our final thesis. Like the best of our work projects, it brought us closer together, and Maury was delighted when several publishers expressed interest, even though he died before meeting any of them. The advance money helped pay Maury's enormous medical bills, and for that we are both grateful. The title, by the way, we came up with one day in Maury's office. He liked naming things, and he had several ideas. But when I said, "How about Tuesdays with Maury?" he smiled in an almost blushing way, and I knew that that was it. After Maury died, I went through boxes of old college materials and I discovered a final paper I'd written for one of his classes. It was 20 years old now, and on the front page were my penciled comments scribbled to Maury, and beneath them were his comments scribbled back. Mine began, "Dear Coach," his began, "Dear Player." For some reason, each time I read that, I missed him more and more. Have you ever really had a teacher, one you saw as a raw but precious thing, a jewel that with wisdom could be polished to a proud shine? If you are lucky enough to find your way to such a teacher, you will always find your way back. Sometimes it is only in your head, and sometimes it's right alongside their beds. The last class of my old professor's life took place once a week in his home, by a window in his study, where he would watch a small hibiscus plant shed its pink flower. The class met on Tuesdays, no books were required, and the subject was the meaning of life. It was taught from experience, and the teaching goes on.